Many people walk around believing they are tired, that their lack of progress or inability to push forward is because their body or mind has reached some limit. But let me be honest with you, most of the time what we call tiredness is really just an excuse. True fatigue is rare. It comes after extraordinary effort, after pushing yourself to the edge and going beyond your comfort zone consistently. But what most of us feel isn't fatigue. It's the result of hesitation, procrastination, and undisciplined habits disguised as exhaustion. We tell ourselves, "I'm too tired," when in reality, we've just avoided the discomfort of doing the hard work that we know we need to do. Think about it. How many times have you said you were too tired to go to the gym, too tired to finish that project, too tired to study, and yet later in the day, you find yourself scrolling endlessly on your phone? Or watching videos for hours? That is not tiredness. That is choice. That is your mind looking for an easy escape from discomfort. And that is what discipline confronts every single day. Discipline is the bridge between where you are now and where you want to be, and it doesn't care about how tired you feel. Discipline doesn't make excuses. Discipline makes you get up, move, and act when every fiber of your being is screaming to stop. Understanding the difference between true fatigue and false fatigue is a turning point. Real fatigue comes when you've poured yourself into something meaningful, when you've given all your energy to a task that challenges you mentally or physically, and yet you keep going because your purpose is bigger than your temporary feelings. False fatigue, on the other hand, is your brain playing tricks on you. It whispers, "Rest, wait, relax," while your potential silently fades away. And if you continue listening to it, you'll never realize what you're capable of. You'll never know what it feels like to push past your limits and discover strength you didn't know existed. Every great achiever, every person who has reached extraordinary levels in life, knows this truth. They are not constantly fueled by energy or unending motivation. Most of them are exhausted in the same way you and I can be, but they've learned to act despite it. They've trained themselves to respond to discipline, not to feelings. They've realized that energy follows action, not the other way around. Waiting to feel motivated is the trap. Waiting to feel rested is the trap. Action comes first, energy comes after. So, the next time you catch yourself saying, "I'm too tired," pause and reflect. Ask yourself, am I truly spent, or am I just avoiding the discomfort of doing what I need to do? Because once you start answering that honestly, everything changes. You start to see that you have more strength than you give yourself credit for. You start to recognize that the limits you've been living under are often self-imposed. And most importantly, you begin to understand that the real obstacle standing between you and success isn't fatigue at all. It's your own lack of discipline. Tiredness is temporary, discipline is permanent, and the sooner you make that distinction, the sooner you start walking the path that leads to real achievement. Discipline is not something that magically appears overnight. It's not a switch you flip when you feel like it, nor is it dependent on motivation or inspiration. Discipline is built slowly, quietly, and consistently through the small choices you make every single day. It is the accumulation of countless tiny actions repeated over time that eventually shapes your character, your habits, and ultimately your destiny. The problem is, most people underestimate the power of these small, consistent steps. They look for shortcuts, quick wins, or sudden bursts of energy, forgetting that the real transformation happens in the mundane, in the moments when nobody is watching and no one is applauding. Think about your daily routine. Every choice you make either strengthens your discipline or weakens it. Hitting snooze on your alarm, scrolling endlessly through social media instead of reading or learning, giving in to cravings instead of sticking to your plan. All of these little decisions add up, and over time, they define who you are. Conversely, getting up on time, dedicating even just a few minutes to improving yourself, doing what needs to be done even when it feels inconvenient. Those tiny acts, repeated consistently, create Momentum, they build a foundation that cannot be shaken by fatigue, doubt, or circumstance. Habits are the architecture of discipline. When you cultivate the right habits, you no longer rely on willpower or motivation because your actions have become automatic. The person who runs every morning, studies every evening, or works on their goals daily isn't necessarily more motivated than you. They've simply trained themselves to act, no matter how they feel. This is why discipline is far more powerful than motivation. Motivation is fleeting. It comes and goes like the weather. Discipline is consistent, and it survives the days when you feel drained, uninspired, or overwhelmed. If you can learn to embrace the discipline of small, daily habits, you will achieve more in a year than most people achieve in a lifetime waiting for motivation to strike. The truth is, success is never about grand gestures alone. It's rarely about sudden genius ideas or miraculous opportunities. Success is about showing up day after day, doing the work that nobody sees, and trusting that the accumulation of these small actions will lead to extraordinary results. It's about choosing consistency over convenience, long-term gain over short-term comfort, and yes, it's hard. It will require effort, patience, and a willingness to endure discomfort. But every step you take, no matter how small, is a step toward mastery, toward freedom, toward becoming the person you aspire to be. So, when you feel like giving in, when you feel like the work is too much or that progress is too slow, remember that discipline is a muscle. The more you exercise it, the stronger it becomes. The habits you form today are the person you will become tomorrow. Small, consistent actions compound into extraordinary results, and discipline is the vehicle that drives you there. Your future is built on the habits you create today. It's not about luck. It's not about talent. It's about what you do consistently every single day, even when you don't feel like it. Our mind is a clever thing. It can be our greatest ally, but it can also be our biggest saboteur. One of the most common obstacles to discipline is the mental resistance we feel every time we face a challenge, a difficult task, or simply the need to act when we don't feel like it. That voice inside us whispers, "You're tired, you'll do it tomorrow, it's too hard." And if we listen, we give away our power without even trying. This resistance is natural. It is the mind's way of keeping us in comfort, avoiding discomfort, and protecting us from what it perceives as strain or risk. But here's the truth. Growth, achievement, and success never come from comfort. They come from pushing through the resistance, from acting even when every part of you wants to quit. Mental resistance is not a sign that you are weak. It's a sign that you are approaching something meaningful. The more your mind resists, the more it is signaling that you are stepping out of your comfort zone, that you are approaching a threshold that will stretch your abilities and expand your potential. Every time you confront this resistance and act anyway, you strengthen your mental muscles. You teach yourself that discomfort is not an enemy but a necessary companion on the path to success. You learn that feelings are temporary, but the results of disciplined action are lasting. The challenge is that most people interpret resistance as a signal to stop. They confuse fear, doubt, or procrastination with genuine limitation. They look for excuses, convincing themselves that they are too tired, too busy, or too incapable. But the reality is that these are illusions created by the mind. True limitations are rare. Most of what holds us back exists only in our thoughts, in the stories we tell ourselves about why we can't do something. And once we begin to see through those stories, once we recognize that resistance is a natural part of growth, we gain an incredible advantage. We realize that action is always available to us even when motivation is not. Mental toughness is developed by choosing action over excuses repeatedly. It is built through practice, through intentionally doing the things that your mind wants to avoid. The person who masters this is not someone who never feels resistance or discomfort. They feel it constantly. What sets them apart is their willingness to act in spite of it. They understand that the mind will always try to protect them from discomfort, but they have trained themselves to act first and let the mind follow. Energy, clarity, and confidence come after action, not before. This is why self-discipline is more about training the mind than pushing the body. When you learn to recognize resistance for what it is, to acknowledge it without letting it control you, you gain the power to achieve more than you ever imagined. Every challenge you face, every task you delay because of mental excuses, is an opportunity to exercise this mental strength. Every time you choose to act instead of succumb, you prove to yourself that you are stronger than your doubts, more capable than your fears, and more resilient than your temporary feelings of exhaustion. The truth is simple. The mind will always try to stop you, but you don't have to listen. You don't have to wait for motivation or comfort to take action. The moment you act despite resistance, you reclaim your power, you build your mental toughness, and you move closer to the life you want. Resistance is not a barrier. It is a signal that you are on the right path, and the only way forward is to move through it. The harsh truth that most people refuse to accept is this: success does not reward those who feel ready, who wait for perfect conditions, or who linger in comfort. Success rewards those who show up consistently, who do the work regardless of circumstances, and who develop the discipline to act even when it is inconvenient or uncomfortable. Too many people believe that resting, waiting, or recharging is the path to achievement, but rest alone will never create greatness. Rest is necessary, yes, but it is discipline that propels you forward. Discipline is the engine that transforms effort into results, and those who master it understand that showing up, day after day, week after week, is what separates ordinary people from extraordinary ones. Think about it for a moment. How many opportunities are missed because someone waited to feel ready? How many ideas, projects, and dreams remain unfulfilled because people were waiting for motivation, inspiration, or the perfect moment? The truth is, the perfect moment rarely arrives. Life doesn't wait for you to feel rested or energized. Life moves forward, and it rewards those who act despite hesitation, fear, and uncertainty. Discipline ensures that you are always moving forward, regardless of temporary feelings or external circumstances. Those who rely solely on motivation or comfort will forever be at the mercy of their emotions, while those who cultivate discipline become masters of their own destiny. Discipline is not a punishment, it is freedom. It is freedom from procrastination, from excuses, from the constant battle between what you want and what you know you should do. When you develop discipline, you no longer need to wait for the right energy or the right mood to take action. You act because action has become a habit, because it is your default mode, because you have trained yourself to prioritize progress over comfort. And the more you practice this, the easier it becomes. Over time, discipline compounds just like interest in a bank account. The actions you take today, however small, create momentum that carries you through tomorrow, next week, and the years ahead. The world is full of people who have potential but never realize it because they prioritize comfort over discipline. They believe they will succeed when they feel ready, when conditions are perfect, when life finally aligns with their desires. But life will never perfectly align with your desires. Challenges, setbacks, and distractions are inevitable. The difference between those who achieve greatness and those who remain average is the willingness to act anyway. Discipline allows you to keep moving forward when others give up, to maintain consistency when others waver, and to build results that last far beyond fleeting moments of energy or motivation. And here is the ultimate lesson. The person who relies on discipline understands that rest is earned, not demanded. Rest comes after progress, not before. It comes after consistent action, after effort, after showing up when no one is watching. The disciplined person doesn't wait for life to make it easy. They make life productive through their own actions. They understand that their results are not determined by temporary feelings of tiredness or comfort, but by their willingness to act despite them. If you want to achieve more, you must embrace this truth. The world does not reward the rested, it rewards the disciplined. Consistency, persistence, and self-mastery are what determine your success, not luck, not comfort, and not temporary energy. Discipline is the currency of achievement, and those who invest it wisely will always come out ahead.